Hi, this is Sizani Man, and I'm going to show you how I made a simple game using Python and pygame. Pygame is basically an add-on for Python. You need to import pygame right here. You need to do all this. Pygame.see, everything is used pygame a lot in this, and you can use it for like graphics and stuff. And so then, so you can get it at the website. I think it's pygame.org, I think, because it's free. So this is my code. There's a lot of pygame stuff in it, and I'll run it just to show you. Run module. And it should pop up here in a few seconds. Here we go. See? You have them right here, and I can move them around. Now, I don't use the arrow keys to move them around. I use W to move them up, S to move them down, T to move them to the right, and A to move them to the left. These are used a lot in like games where you have to use the mouse. I'm not using the mouse yet, but I just decided to do that anyway, so you don't have to scrunch your hand. You don't have to use your right hand for the arrow keys. So you can just move your little character around. His name is Sizani, by the way. And so see this? This doesn't mean there's an error, although it normally does. It just means, it says in line 27, system.exit. So exited from that thing. I'll show you where that is in the code. While true, this is the main game loop right here. So this always happens. Here we go. Event.type equals quit. Pygame.quit in system.exit. Now, event.type means what event it is. Like if anything ever happens. Because this is in the for loop that for event in pygame.event.get. Pygame.event.get basically looks to see if basically you move the mouse, you hit a key, the key gets released, press the button on the mouse, all that stuff. So basically it looks for input. It only runs the code in its loop. So everything right here, if it runs everything in its loop, because that stuff is used with input. All this stuff is used with input. So so basically all this is input. So it runs. So event.type is for every event, and quit means just if you press the X arrow in the window, not right here. It does pygame.quit, which basically stops everything, and then it does system.exit, which brought up that thing right there. Now, right here is event.type key down elif. It's basically else, the else thing, if. So, if it's not this, so if event.type isn't quit, check to see if it's key down. If it is key down, then run all the things in its loop. So then, if event.key equals key A, position X minus equals 30. So event.key basically means what key you press. So if you press the key A, move him to the left, or position X minus 30. If it's key D, move him down, plus equals 30. It's really weird, the y-axis is inverted for this, for pygame, and for most programming language, actually. If it's key S, key D will move him to the right. Key S will move him down, and that's the thing that's inverted. And then key W will move him up, so minus equals 30, because it moves him back up. Then, so we have all this. So, say we do this. Position X, let's change this to 10. So it only changes it by 10 every time. What do you think will happen then? He'll move very small, very, very small little bits. We don't want that if it's fast. But say we put it to 50. Then what will it be like? Then he'll move in bigger things, and that might be a little too big, because then he'll run into enemies and be clumsy and stuff. We don't want that. So we'll just set it back to 30. I can just do Control C. So yeah, that does everything. Now, display surf.blit. Display surf is the window, and that means we want to put blit, which is basically an image in pygame, Python, on display surf. So in this image will be Zizani image. Zizani image up here equals pygame.image.load, that loads an image, Zizani small2.png. So yeah, we load that image, and then normally you put the coordinates right here. Instead, we're putting position X and position Y, because those are our variables for the coordinates. Now, normally, it would just do it once, but we have an FPS clock, so it updates it at the FPS, which is 30 times a second. Now, we don't really need to do that, but just in case we change it a little bit, so that'll be better. Little pygame.display.update, basically what it does is it changes it. It makes everything appear. Otherwise, nothing will appear. So if we go and comment this out, which basically just makes it not code anymore, nothing happens. It's a blank screen because it's not updating it at all. But then, see, now that we have it back, it's updating the screen whenever you want it to. 30 times a second. So, also, another thing, did you notice that the caption is controlled? Because pygame.display.set caption. That sets the caption right here on the corner, right to here to control. And that's just the little pygame symbol, control. And then, another thing is, I did white here and then black. Those are two different colors that I set. Black, what if this display surf.fill, what this does is this sets the background. Now, what if we set this to black? You would think that it just shows Zizani again normally, right? But no, there's actually a box around him that's white. That's how I gave it that effect. That is just like that. So now you see that it's a box. This is actually his hitbox. So if we're doing a game with enemies, if an enemy touches him right here, he'll get hurt or whatever. If we change it back to white, his hitbox is still the same around here, but it looks like he's just says any no box around him. See? Can't see the box. So yeah, that's basically everything. Now, last thing is the window. This changed the how big the window is. Right now we have a small window. And 32 is basically thickness in most things. But say we set this to 500. Both to 500. Makes it a lot bigger. And it's a lot bigger on the y-axis for some reason. If you do 0.32. So yeah, it's a lot bigger on the y-axis. So that's why you'd want to do that. But you don't just have to have a game that's just basically takes up an area like this. You can have it be like this, so it's like a strip, sort of one-dimensional, and you can shoot, and you have to, I don't know, say there's zappers, and you have to move past the zappers quickly, but you can't move down or anything, because you could make a thing that stays in the window. Now, we just set the windows back to normal. Also, his default position is position X 100, position Y 100. If we change this, let's change this to 200, and this down to 50. You can see he moves to the right, and he also moves up because the y-axis is inverted. Set that back to normal. And, yep, that's basically it. That's how I made a simple game, I guess you would call it, pygame. You can make it too if you use all the things I showed you. You need to import time at the beginning. I'm not sure actually you need to do that, but just make sure, just because you have an FPS clock. And yeah, you can do different things with that. So if you get like different inputs, lights up different things, you can make something that's more like an app where it like does something different besides move the character, like creates a tunnel or something. So yeah, that's basically how I made it. Bye.